The Washington Commanders, 9-5.
Wow.
By the hair of their chinny chin chin, they got the dub. The dub is what matters. That was a wild ball game. It was Cakewalk City at halftime.
Yep.
And the end of that game was anything but. Good morning, Brian.
Yeah, I think those referees made sure that thing was close. Some of them bogus calls.
So,
a lot of bogus calls on both. They made a couple on the outside, but they were horrible, dude.
I think the refs were horrible.
Yeah.
The Commanders got a couple of breaks from them, but if you just look at the numbers, right? Like there were 9 penalties called on Washington, 4 on New Orleans, 84 penalty yards against Washington, 36 for New Orleans. I mean, those are pretty big discrepancies. Of the calls that stand out to me, a pair of them I hate more than the rest, and they were the roughing calls. But my bigger beef with those roughing calls on Fowler, I hate the rule. I think one of them was called incorrectly, the contact with the head. The other one, I knew they were going to call it. The rule,
one when he hit
the
him across the
NFL is
chest.
the problem. That's a league problem.
But there was one, his arm goes across which comes chest. He doesn't fall on him or anything. It's right when the ball is released and they call roughing. I don't know how you could call roughing that. That made no sense to me.
Is that the one in the end zone?
No, I don't think he was in the end zone at that one. That was one like out in the field area.
Okay.
And I looked at it and they replayed and I'm like, it's just, but anyway.
So there was one, the one in the field, they called it for this is what drove me crazy. They called it for contact with the helmet. That needs to be intentional. If you intentionally go after a quarterback's helmet, flag him.
Mm-hmm.
That was not the case. He was getting shoved by an O-lineman behind him that he had beat, and his arm's out to the left. And does it like kind of connect with his helmet? Sure, but it had nothing to do with the play.
Yeah.
And that drives me bananas. It is just participation trophies, man. It's just such junk. I thought the most impactful and annoying call was the hold on Allegretti when Jaden had found Diami for probably a 17-yard gain that would have been first to goal, honestly, because you were inside the 10 at that point. That would have all but sealed the game. The refs sucked. The clock stoppage.
See, and
so egregious.
I hear, and I saw the guy post talking about, he would have still had time. Let's get one thing straight. Why the hell did it stop for 4 or 5 seconds at 9?
I think it was like 3.5 seconds.
Why did it stop? So that's I don't care what you think about. They would have had more time. My question is, the clock is going tick, 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 then it just stops.
So in case nobody saw this, the NFL rules dictate that like the media, the referees don't usually speak to the media. They don't have to answer any questions. You have to request a pool report, and only the home team gets to ask questions. So we, like the DC media group that was there, had to request that the New Orleans media group put a request in for a pool report from the NFL refs.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, think about the layers of juggling there.
What the hell are they hiding?
Well, Luke Johnson.
That's my question.
Luke Johnson did it. Luke Johnson's a reporter down in New Orleans, I believe, for the Picayune. And I think he did a good job. So Sean Hockley was the ref. He said the covering official mistakenly stopped the clock in that situation. The clock should not have stopped. If you go back and watch the replay, you see the dude, I want to say he's the side judge, come running in waving his hands. That's how you stop the clock. That's the signal to the clock operator to stop the clock. There was no timeout. It was a completed pass, and he was inbounds. There's no
How much money
chance.
did he had on the game?
I don't think he did. I think he just messed up.
Bruh.
But still.
A completed pass, the clock does not stop in the NFL. Okay? You may do that. They stop it in college football till they run up to the line and
that's only
they
after
go
a
again.
First down.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen in the NFL. The reason he came in and stopped, there's no explanation as to why he did that.
So I'll give you the rest of this explanation, which is just a big old pile of junk. He was asked if you could review that. Hockley said, no, it is not a situation that is reviewable. The question from Johnson then was, when were you all aware of the mistake? Listen to this BS. Hockley, That's all I have for you, Luke. The covering official mistakenly stopped the clock at 9 seconds, and it is not reviewable. So they just refuse to. They just stonewall it. Listen, because the 2-pointer was no good, this will kind of be forgotten, right? Like we'll yell about it for a couple days, but in general, this will blow over. If that goes the other way, that is an absolutely nuclear situation for the NFL. That is, dude. Think about the ramifications with the playoff chase.
Well, it just promoted people jumping on that narrative again that the NFL is scripted. So
it's not.
Like I tell people, the players are not involved with a script. The referees could be involved with a damn script.
Nothing's scripted.
They made that thing how they wanted it to be yesterday.
Nothing's scripted. Dude, they gave the Commanders a pretty good break early on.
Let's be real.
They had a roughing the snapper call.
Let's be real.
I refuse to believe anything's scripted, and I don't entertain that.
It may not be scripted, but I'm telling you, they went into a game knowing that these referees are a type that's going to throw flags all day. Okay? Why is it that one crew is one way and the other crew, we know that they're going to just throw flags just to be throwing flags?
That's fair.
So you can't tell me when people do something a certain way, that makes people doubt you. You know what I mean? If the crews are so differently, we got to scout the refereeing crews. I'm telling you, you look at the play earlier when they call, I think it was holding on Cosby.
That's in all sports, though. But I mean, in every sport, umps are different.
Maybe all of them just got something to do. But if you go by the rules of a game, it shouldn't be that much off of it, right? You should see it just like everybody else sees it. If you're taught from the same people, you should be able to see exactly what everybody else sees. But I'm watching Cosby not even touch the guy, and the guy just starts swelling his hand, and the ref throws a flag.
The hold on Allegretti at the end I thought was particularly egregious as well. I listen, I'm not disagreeing that the refs sucked yesterday. I think they pretty clearly did. I don't think Hockley is one of the better refs in the NFL. But I think Washington also had the opportunity to put this game away repeatedly and just could not take advantage. I think in the second half, defensively, they weren't good enough. And offensively, they could not string things together. I think the lack of the run game in this thing really hurt them. And most of the holds that we both thought were pretty outrageous were in the pass game. Like, they could not run the ball at all. You had a problem with the refs yesterday. That was a thing. The clock stoppage at the end was beyond egregious. The way that team played in the second half yesterday is not playoff football. They were not good enough.
Playoff football, but I think
Spencer Rattler came in and carved them up
because Spencer Rattler wasn't the person they prepared for. We watch it happen every time.
Hanger also sucks.
Every time a backup quarterback comes in, they normally carve a team up, and then the next week they become something else. But the one thing you cannot go past is when you're in a rhythm and you make big plays, and then some odd flag is called, you get completely thrown off of your game, and it just messes up stuff sometimes. So no matter what you do, you make a play, boom, here go my flag again. Like yesterday, after they started making a play, I started looking for them because they started coming. That is a big thing in sports. When you are out here and you start feeling like you're playing against the refs as well, that can mess you up completely.
I think twice, the one roughing call on Fowler and then an illegal hands to the face on St. Jude's, they were forcing punts that kept New Orleans on the field. St. Jude's barely played yesterday, and then he comes in on a 3rd and 10 when you're off the field, gets an illegal hands to the face. That is just such a killer. And Ben is such a nice young man. But, dude, he knows that he's a handsy player.
Yep, and he don't call it.
He knows it. This crew calls everything. That's such an unforgivable. Like, the penalty was right. Like, he did it. You can't use your hands in that situation. It's 3rd and 10, and this team's off the field. They're actually, I have the number. I saved the first half stats, I think. Yeah, okay, here we go. They were so good in the first half, and then the final numbers, dude, it's just I
think they had like 20 plays, 34 net yards. The Saints did.
The Saints at halftime had 38 yards. They finished with 245. So they had like a 210-yard second half. Kamara got loose. They were able to hit the one. What happened on the deep shot to Valdez Scantling that he brought in, where Chin was in coverage and Quan was right there, it seemed like a cartoon explosion that somehow Quan and Chin just like went the wrong way. They were all right
Quan
there.
was playing the ball. You could see his angle goals with his looking at the ball, and nobody ever played the person.
Bro, but
I'm
everybody was there, and then they just like
I thought they were about to crunch him.
Me too.
And both of them basically looked like they were playing the ball.
It seemed like they were either going to crunch him or intercept it,
Mhm.
and none of that happened.
Mhm.
It was remarkable. So they hit that deep shot, and Rattler, when I say carved him up, he was able to generate offense, but I mean, he wasn't he was 10 of 21, so it's not like he was an accurate passer. Then they run the kind of trick play touchdown to Kamara. Luvu's left alone in coverage. You've got trick play action on that. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap. Kamara made a hell of a catch. For a lot of people screaming about if his foot was in bounds or not, they called it he had possession when he broke the plane. Therefore, it's a touchdown. Like you see that all the time when guys dive for the pylon and stretch the ball out, and that's a touchdown. So that was a legitimate touchdown. It's the first time, B. I think a lot of this has been overblown, and I think there's a lot of factors. I think the kind of last minute nature of Biotish not playing and Dieter having to start had a lot of ramifications.
That impact.
I think that then impacted the complete inability to run the football. B-Rob in this thing finished with 3.1 YPC, 21 for 65, just couldn't get anything going. I think that had an impact. I think Jaden was fantastic, but there were a few times I feel like he held the ball a little too long. Like there were, I think he was sacked 8 times. And I think of the 8 sacks, there's a lot of people involved. It's not just the O-line was bad.
Yeah.
There were a lot of factors. I think the refs had a big part of this because, like you said, when you can't keep drives going because you get these crazy penalties, I think I'm not sure Cliff had his best game. And throughout time, I've been pretty pro Cliff. I thought late in this game, you try to run the ball, ice this thing away. I think
but they couldn't run it.
The 3rd and 1 play action was dead the second they snapped it. Like the Saints just saw that. The wham block never came. Cam Jordan's untouched. That play was dead. I think, to me, 3rd and 1 at the 1, run it twice. Run it and then run it again. And then if you get 1st and 10 from inside his own 1 to Rattler.
That's the easy thing to say after the fact. But the wham block didn't come. Is that Cliff fault? Is that the person that's supposed to go wham block? You see a lot of things
down a lot
happen.
of guys.
Yeah, but still, all these guys are professional athletes. I'm not making no excuse for them. If that play is called, you get your ass over there and make the block. So if he don't make the block, you can't call that on the coach. There were some shots that they could have made in that game. He didn't. I think one time when Jaden was scrambling around, Crowder had ran like a little motion and did like a little swing route. He was wide open with nobody on that side of the field. He never looked that way. There was some stuff open that they just did not hit yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, it's execution, right? Like we all hear about that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm alone on this one. I liked Dan Quinn going for the field goal. I think when I was highly critical of DQ in that Philly game for not going for it because what I believe Washington has built, they talk about they want to play fast and be violent, right? They're trying to build a mindset. You walk through the building, they have all these sayings and motivational posters and like all this stuff up there that is about like go attack and win the game. And because that's the mindset, what I want to see and what I think players respond to is consistency with that mindset. And I think because of that, I understand it's a 53-yarder. You're also indoors. Like these are pro kickers. Greg Joseph has kicked in the NFL for a long time. I understandably he's the 6th kicker they've had this year, whatever the number is. But DQ made a call to win the game. And what I won't do that I'll keep my opinion to myself on what some do, but I'm not going to change how I felt about the decision because the outcome didn't make it. Like, just the fact that he missed it doesn't mean it was the wrong call. I think it was the right call. You score there. If he kicks that field goal there, you're inside the 2 minute. You can go up 10 inside the 2 minute.
Mhm.
Take that chance.
Yeah.
I'm cool with the call. I know a lot of people, whether they were saying it before or not, they're saying now that they should have punted. I don't agree. You're trying to win the game. He's got support in his guys. He's giving them the chance to go win the freaking game.
Mhm.
That's what you're supposed to do.
But back to the refs again. How does
For a dude that says never blame the refs,
no,
you're
I'm going
bad
back to
at
the refs. No, let's be real. How does a clock hit 0 and sitting there for 5 seconds and they damn sure didn't stop it?
Yo, but that helped them.
It helped them, but still, it should have never got off.
Sure.
They should have stopped it immediately, and he would never have to worry about that rush because he was trying to rush it, and the snap was a little bad.
Yeah.
So I'm just
you saw snap issues.
They had so many things where they were not on. When you normally watch the damn good crews in refereeing, they are all on top of everything. That crew wasn't on top of a damn thing.
No.
You know? But, like, in the game,
what did you think of kicking the field goal instead of punting late in that game?
Take it. Points on the board.
I agree. I know a lot of people think differently.
Hey, man, listen. What's the result? Did they win the game? I don't care if it's about 1 point or 50 points. You don't get any extra credit for having extra points. You get credit. You get one W. They don't give you a W4, a W7. They give you a W just for winning the game. So I go.
That was a wild ride, man, and you kind of felt it coming down the stretch there. The injuries are really starting to mount up. If you look at like just the pass catchers, if you look at the receiving leaders for this team, number 1, still getting it done. Terry McLaurin's going to break the single season touchdown record. There's so much to like with Terry. Number 2, your second leading receiver, your third leading receiver, and your fourth leading receiver all out yesterday. Eckler and Brown were out going in. Ertz takes that big shot, is out for, when did he go down? It was first half, wasn't it? So he was out for most of the second half. Mm-hmm. You got to wonder, Ertz and Chin yesterday both look like significant injuries that, we'll hear from DQ this afternoon. We'll get a little more input. I said this yesterday on the stream show on Monumental. Brian, this team's got warts. They got injuries. There are problems. You escape New Orleans winning by a point. But what this team also has is guts.
They got guts.
And they got a quarterback. And guts in a quarterback could go a long way, man.
Hell yeah.
They got something working.
If you told people at the beginning of the season they'll be 9-5 at this point, everybody would take it.
Dude.
So
100%.
Keep moving.
It's their best record since 92.